So honestly, I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't think that we would start to see it so early in his career. A lot of guys, you don't see them really mature and play the way he's playing until year 4, year 5. Okay,
More company. And here we go. And now we hear Mike Quick. Can you hear us, Mike?
I can hear you now.
All
Yes.
Right. Good.
Hey, good morning,
deal.
guys.
Good morning. I'm not sure if you heard what Jody said. So, Jody, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to reiterate the question that I had because it's been brought to me when I'm on the radio. I know other guys on WIP have dealt with it. Guys have written stuff about it in columns and the like. The best duo, wide receiver duo the Eagles have ever had. I've heard the names of Mike Quick and Harold Carmichael linked together.
Right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Does it bother you that the two guys who are getting it done this day are starting to get consideration that they could pass Quick and Cunningham?
Carmichael,
excuse me.
Harold's in the Hall of Fame, so
yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. Listen, I'm just enjoying today. These guys are so talented, Jody, John, that I really enjoy watching these guys play. They are real professionals. They are really dedicated to what they do. I think we had more fun back in the day when we played. There are more things outside of the game that we enjoyed. These guys are just businessmen and they're about their business, and I really appreciate them. That to me is one of the reasons they're so talented.
What do you think the complementary nature is, Mike? You played the game at such a high level. When you have AJ and his size and his physicality and his yards after catch, and you have DeVonta and his ability to run routes, and you saw him high point the football last week. You saw him go up. What the complementary nature of those two guys? It seems like a perfect puzzle piece.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, John. I love this thing that Slay has started now with the skinny Batman.
I got you as quick Batman, swole Batman, skinny Batman, fast Batman.
When you got swole Batman, you can put guys on him and he can push them around, and he still has all the skills to run all the routes. He catches great, and he's so good with the ball in his hands. He can run people over, run around people. When you're swole, you can do that. And then when you're skinny, you're just sleek, and you're like the gazelle, and you can get around people because you're so swift of foot. You go up and you spring and catch the ball the way he did in the end zone and all of those things. It's just – I think it's a great compliment.
It is a great compliment, and I want to compliment you because you're kind of that in-between guy between those two guys. You were certainly bigger than skinny Batman. You weren't quite as big as swole Batman. So if you had to compare your game at the best of your game to these two guys now, which one do you think you're closer to?
I think you said it at the beginning. I was a combination of them both. Physical enough to, push cornerbacks around when I needed to, and fast enough to run by people when I needed to. A little bit of a combination. I'd say I was probably more towards skinny Batman than swole Batman.
Mike, I always say receivers at some point are at the mercy of the vehicle getting them the football. I mean, you got to have somebody who can get you the football.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts just named NFC Offensive Player of the Month this morning. Everybody knows Jalen's work ethic that's around this team. You know it. I know it. We see the Eagles constantly talk about, I don't know what his ceiling is, but I know he's going to reach his ceiling because he works so hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you have ever imagined he's been this good over the first 3 weeks, that the ceiling was this high?
So honestly, I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't think that we would start to see it so early in his career. A lot of guys, you don't see them really mature and play the way he's playing until year 4, year 5, because now he's starting to see things on the field, recognize things, and the play doesn't have to come from the sideline as much anymore because he's able to do it on the field because he's just grown that much over this short period of time. I expected him to be good, but he's at a level right now that I didn't see coming so quickly. That to me is the real difference.
Mike, you played almost a decade in the league. You've been doing the Eagle broadcast now for a couple of decades on top of that. So you've seen a lot of football in your time.
Yes.
The improvement of Jalen Hurts, because John and I talk about it, I feel calls about it on WIP. Your accuracy is what your accuracy is. You really can improve your accuracy, which I just dismissed out of hand, but that's the way a lot of fans believed. He's improved his accuracy even more than I believed he could, and I'm a fan. Have you ever seen anybody make that big a leap? Now, it's only 3 games, and I don't want to overstate it, but man, he is just so much more accurate this year. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
So, Jody, I think the improvement in the accuracy comes along with the knowledge that he's gained in just this short period of time, the experience now that he has, the ability to process and recognize what's going on. They worked a lot on his footwork. So all of these things together it's really coming into this thing where he is just one of the best. And as you noted, named the NFC offensive player of the month. It's all of these things, the improved footwork and the work that he's put in with the footwork, the processing, the recognizing where he needs to go with the football. So when you process it sooner, you're able to get the ball into the right places. You know, I heard people talking about his lack of arm strength early on in his career. And it wasn't the lack of arm strength. It was the lack of timing. And that timing was because of the recognition. Now he's starting to see things, processing things quicker, and knows where to go earlier than he knew early on in his playing time. So now the ball comes out with the right timing. And with that, the accuracy is improved. So it's all of these things.
Did you get frozen up, Jody? I got, well, there we go. Mike's back. You were a little frozen to me, Mike.
Oh, no. I just gave you the best stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's always the way. I want to talk to you.
But it's really, let me go back, though. It's all of these things, that the processing, the timing, the footwork, all of these things coming together. And that's what we're starting to see.
And how much of that, because I want to talk about the head coach, and by the way, was repping number 82 down in Washington.
Never looked better.
Yeah. Never. And I saw, in his post-game press conference, I saw that was personalized, Mike. But the fact, his impact on the development of Jalen Hurts and Shane Steichen as well, Brian Johnson, the quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
And just the culture Nick Sirianni has built, because you're a big part of this family and still doing the broadcast. And he does stuff like that. And he does want to rep Mike Quick. How much does that mean to this organization, this team?
So I just think that Nick is being genuine, authentic, because that's who he is. He's a guy that grew up around the game, loves the game, played the wide receiver position, by the way, growing up. Fan of wide receivers, and a big fan of the Philadelphia Eagles and the market. And so just like a lot of people you see in the community every day wearing Eagles gear, he likes to wear Eagles gear. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's kind of cool that the guy who's now the head coach, likes to rep Eagles gear all the time. That, to me, it's kind of cool.
All right, Mike, when Eagles get out to a 3-0 start, if we question anything about him, people think we're trying to hate on him. We're not. We're nitpicking, and we acknowledge that we nitpick a little bit, but we also acknowledge that they're 3-0 and look as good as almost any team in the National Football League. But how many times in your career did they run a jet sweep to you on 4th and 1 from the goal line?
You know what? I didn't dislike the call so much, but I don't know if Zach Pascal is the right guy.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the call. The guy you handed to is a big part of the call, as a matter of fact.
I would not have wanted to be that guy in that situation. Man, I ran a reverse one time against the New York Giants, and I told them after that reverse, I'll never run this play again. If you call this play again, I'm not going to run it. I'll never forget it, because D. Hardison, big defensive tackle out of University of North Carolina, he was standing in the backfield waiting for me when I got the handoff for the reverse. And it was just a splat. He splattered me. And,
Yeah.
and that was one of the occasions when I started to recognize that my knee was going bad because it was 300 plus pounds of D. Hardison sitting on me.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that should have been a Kenny Gainwell play. Manufactured touch. That should be Kenny Gainwell, but that's nitpicking. I asked Nick Sirianni this question yesterday, Mike. So I want to ask it to you. We always talk about quarterbacks elevating the talent around them.
Yes.
And I think Jalen's playing at that kind of level, but you playing at such a high level at the receiver position, we generally don't think about receivers elevating the quarterback. Can that happen? How much does it happen when you have an AJ Brown coming in here? And she seems to be the domino effect that it's turned this offense from one that made a lot of explosive plays, but also had a number of hiccups last year into one that's far more consistent this year, at least for short spurts.
Hey, Jaworski quick elevated Carmichael quick elevated Jaworski.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. No, I'm just kidding. But absolutely. So one of the things that I really appreciate with Jalen Hurts right now is that he throws the ball to guys that are in tight coverage, where defensive backs are in face, close to the receiver.
Yeah.
But he's giving these guys opportunities to make plays. That's the National Football League. It's not like at the collegiate level where you've got you've got 2 steps and you're wide open. You have to throw the ball into tight windows, into tight coverage many times, and give your players opportunities to make plays. And they are doing that. So the wide receivers on this team, they are, in fact, elevating the play of the quarterback because they make the catches on those 50-50 balls that everybody talks about. And they're not so much 50-50 balls anymore.
Yeah, they're like 70-30. Yeah.
When you're throwing it to swole Batman, skinny Batman, they're able to make plays because of their gifts. Skinny Batman's range is just crazy. He just looks like, 6 feet tall and, but his wingspan has to be.
It's really long.
Yeah, his wingspan has to be like a 6'3" guy.
Yeah.
And when you throw the ball to him, even when it appears that he's in tight coverage, he can still get away from people and make catches that many people can't make. Swole Batman has the ability to box people out. If you remember on the touchdown, the slant play from the right side, the deep back was there, but he's such a big body and he's able to box out like a basketball player and make catches like that. That's when you start to elevate the play of your quarterback, when you're able to do that in contested situations.
All right, we got 3 guys here, none of which are millennials. So this might be the wrong question to ask, but I'm going to try it anyway. If we got a whole bunch of Batmans playing the wide receiver position, what Marvel superhero is Dallas Goedert? Because McMullen calls him the best player on the entire team. He's got to have a nick. We got to make him into a superhero too, don't we?
Yeah, but I leave that to the millennials because they're good.
Dodging it. Good move, Mike. Quick. Good move.
I leave that to like slaying these guys. They're so creative. I love what they're doing, and it really just shows the camaraderie, the chemistry of this football team, and they're having a lot of fun with one another. I love the fact that they celebrate the successes of one another. To me, that's good stuff. When you start to see guys and they get excited about when one of the guys on the team makes a play, that is good stuff. That is the type of team that you want to have, guys who celebrate one another. So Dallas Goedert, you're exactly right. He is one of the best players on the team, one of the best players at that position in football. He needs a nickname. He needs, we have to talk more about that.
We got to get some of the, and I'm being, of course, corrected here on our stream. He's DC. He's not Marvel. I mentioned one. I don't know from superheroes.
Yeah, they're correcting you already.
I'm just saying Goedert deserves a nickname just like his fellow wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that one. Let the millennials figure that out. It's got to be something with God mode with Dallas Goedert. Maybe we'll go that direction. But big week, Mike. Doug Pederson returning to Lincoln Financial Field. You know, it's so interesting to me because obviously Doug was able to accomplish something never accomplished before in Eagles history, winning the first Super Bowl champ, hopefully the first, the only so far. Yet he was gone so quick, and you were there, and you saw the highs and the lows. What do you think of Doug coming in? The reaction is going to be, and I don't know why Eagles fans would be mad at Doug Pederson, but you're surprised it ended so quickly after the Apex.
I was surprised that it ended as quickly as it did. But you know, it's a game that, you know, what have you done for me lately? It's, you know, that's football. That's the business that we've chosen. And, you know, after winning 4 games, you have to start to think about, you know, making changes. You don't expect it so quickly at the head position, at the head coach spot. But, you know, the owner chose that. And when I'm king, I'll make the rules. And he decided that that's where he needed to make change. And I think Doug initially may have had some, you know, ill feelings about what happened, and I think that's normal. But I think Doug's in a real good place. I think Doug's happy that he was able to take the year off because he had a lot going on in his personal life.
Yeah.
He still got paid a bunch of money to stay home for a year, and then now he's back into the game, and he's in a real good place. Doug's a good man. Doug's going to do well no matter where he is.
All right, Mike, I just looked this up because if memory served me, it happened, and sure enough, as per the statistics, I was right. Kick returns by Mike Quick in your career. There were 2 in 1986. They put you back there twice to return kickoffs. Is that accurate as your memory?
That might be correct, but if they kicked to me, if I had to catch it, I'm sure I was doing this right away because I'm not. I had no intention of running any type of kick return. I ran. I ran that one reverse, and that's the last time I ever ran a reverse.
You want to get up on the line of scrimmage and go straight ahead. Understood.
Yes.
The reason I bring it up is because John and I have kicked it back and forth about DeVonta Smith returning punts. He was really good on a limited basis in Alabama. He took one to the house to help win a game for the Tide. They put him back there last week. Do you think they'll continue to do that on a very limited basis? Because, again, nitpicking, if there's anything that the Eagles haven't been outstanding in early on first 3 games, has been their return game.
I saw that and I cringe because I just think he's too valuable. I don't want to see him return punts. I hope that the kid, Britt Covey, I hope he becomes a good returner or they find a good returner. I just think the value of DeVonta Smith is just too much to risk him returning punts. That's just my personal opinion, and that's the way I would go with it.
The third phase as a whole, Mike, probably the only thing we could complain about over the first 3 weeks. You can complain about the tackling in week 1, but they corrected that as we all expected them to do. The special teams, though, has been pretty shaky thus far, and it's been everywhere. Jody was talking about the returns. The coverage hasn't been great. You had the blocked field goal. Concern, or you think it's all fixable?
Well, there is concern there because I think that they haven't gotten into the really tough games yet. And I like that early in the season, they're playing teams where you can really start to like play well, get a lot of confidence in what you're doing, work on your execution and all of these things. I think Sunday's game is going to be their biggest test so far. I think Doug's got Jacksonville playing at a high level. So you're going to need all 3 phases. So that is a concern. And probably one of my only concerns is that they need better special teams play on all phases of their special teams. And I think it does begin with Jacksonville being the best team that they've played so far. And then they've got the Cardinals. And that's a really good football team. So these early games, I think is a great opportunity for them to start to put it all together, start to feel good about what what they can do, their strengths, their weaknesses, and try and make sure that the weaknesses aren't very weak going into the thick of the schedule.
All right, two-part question for you, Mike. John and I were talking about this shortly before you came on, the fact that it's a home game for the Eagles this week. Actually, it's their third home game of the year because they had a 2 in Lincoln Financial Field and the one last week down in D.C. where basically they were the home team.
Yeah, I agree.
So they've taken advantage of it the first 2 times. How big a deal is it this week? How much does it add pressure to Trevor Lawrence trying to play in front of this hostile and loud crowd? And the second part of the question is, how does it affect Mike Quick, the broadcaster? Is it harder to do Eagle home games because it's louder? Is it comparable? John said it was a good home crowd in Detroit week number 1, so it's just louder at different times during the game. How does the volume of the hometown crowd affect Mike Quick's broadcast?
It's more fun. I love it. It's so when you're a player, and I had that experience, you love that feeling, that energy that you get from the home crowd. And it's for me the same way, sitting in the booth now 25 years. Like when you have that crowd behind the team, it really does help, and it does boost your energy and everything. It just flows much smoother when you have the home crowd. Yep. I really enjoy playing it when they play at Lincoln Financial.
Nice.
At Mike Quick 6 on Twitter, you could follow Mike there. I see you're on Cameo, so people want to get a video from Mike.
Yeah, I don't do much of that anymore, but
well, it's still up there, so I'm going to plug it. I'm going to plug it, Mike.
I don't remember the last time that I even sent out a tweet.
Well,
I don't
maybe
tweet very much,
we get you. Yeah,
but I like following you smart guys on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And follow Mike. So I want to talk about Merrill. How fired up is Merrill with this team? I saw him down in the locker room yesterday. This is a good football team. I mean, I think we can clearly put the period on that. The question is, how good can they be? I know Brandon Graham said this is more talented than the Super Bowl team. How fired up is Merrill Reese about this team?
Yeah, he's really fired up about him. We do this, and I won't reveal the numbers for all of us, but in the booth with Joe McPeak, Merrill, and myself, Joe McPeak, our producer, for those who don't know, before the first game, Joe passes around an index card, and we all put our number on the card for the NFC East. We put from top to bottom how we expect the NFC East to finish. And we put a number of wins, losses at the end of those. And needless to say, Merrill's usually on the high end for the Eagles. And he's just really, we all are. We're all pumped up about this team because we're in a good place right now. This is a really strong roster, and we knew that going into the season. And now we're seeing that this coaching staff has taken it to another level in preparing these guys each and every week. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a fun team.
Last one for me, Mike. And you're an offensive guy. Certainly were during your playing days, and your expertise you lended to us today, we appreciate greatly. But this is also a defensive town that they truly appreciate when a defense is hard-hitting and aggressive and the like. And they put up 9 sacks last week in front of the quasi-home crowd in D.C. I don't think they get 9 sacks again tomorrow. I think Trevor Lawrence is better at getting rid of the football than Carson Wentz was. I think the Jacksonville Jaguar line is better than the Washington line right now. Which gets the bigger cheers? The sack, or certainly a touchdown is going to be number one, but a solid 40-yard gain or a sack, sitting there all those years next to Merrill, listening to the crowd, loving the hometown crowd, which gets the bigger cheer for you?
Well, it just depends on the quarterback. Now, Trevor Lawrence may not get a Tom Brady sack, they go crazy.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence, you're going to hear a lot of cheering, but I would say the 40-yard run, the big play, it's still, and yes, this is a football town, but the big plays there still get the big crowd getting into it. But if you've got a Dak Prescott at quarterback and he gets sacked, then the crowd goes absolutely bananas. If you got Tom Brady, they're going to go bananas. But Trevor Lawrence, you get excited, but nah, not so much.
Interesting answer, Mike. Thank you very much for that one and for all your answers. Popping aboard with us. We'll certainly get you back on. We'll give you a good couple of weeks, if not months, to recoup and recover from being on with Mac. But we will want you back when the season gets a little bit further on down the line. Thanks for jumping in with us today.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
Mike.
having me, guys. Take care.
All right.